All right, mock draft review. This time we're going Daniel Jeremiah's mock draft. Now, this one is a bit, it's not quite as recent as some others. It's as of March 22nd. So it's been a few weeks, but still, it was after the Tyreek Hill trade did this happen. And again, I find these things fun. So it might be a little outdated. He might have changed something since then. But again, it's more about the discussion than anything else. So that's the point. That's the fun of mock drafts is the discussion, in my opinion, not calling someone an idiot for having a different opinion. So, anyways, let's get into it. We're going to start off with the first several picks. I like to just throw a few on the screen at the same time. So, Aiden Hutchinson, number 1. Yep, I'm a fan of this. If you've been watching any of these, I think this is the correct pick. Here we go. Trayvon Walker, number 2 to Detroit. I just really wouldn't like it. I just wouldn't. I would really feel bad for my friends who are Lions fans if this happened, because it's not that he won't be successful. I think people keep, getting this a little confused. It's like, yes, it's possible he can be successful. He does have great athletic traits, and that is how you are a good football player at the end of the day. But the most technical position in football outside of probably quarterback and kicking is defensive line, which a lot of people don't realize. Hands matter so much and technique matters so much, and he's just so raw at that stuff. Maybe he'll get there, but it'll probably take a couple of years, and you're kind of losing the best value you get out of that rookie deal by making that happen. So that's just the concern. And then by the time he finally does reach his potential, if you believe he will, you then have to pay him a bunch of money. So it doesn't really help you out as much there. So that's my concern there. Like Kayvon Thibodeau going at 3, I would just feel way better about him. I think that he's going to be better immediately. But again, I could be wrong. We don't have to spend forever on that, because I know you guys have probably heard me talk about it to death at this point. Number 4, Sauce Gardner, like this. So far, I like 3 of these 4 picks perfectly. I mean, this is what I keep doing with my Jets mock drafts. Give Sauce Gardner to the Jets. Big fan of that. Going on to the next chunk here. Ike Ekwonu. Yep. Number 5. I like this as well a lot. He's someone who I do have as my favorite offensive lineman. So, so does Daniel Jeremiah. He says he's the best offensive lineman in the class. So I agree. I like that. And Evan Neal at 6. Again, you certainly could go quarterback here if you want to. That's definitely something that I wouldn't be shocked if the Panthers do. And even, Daniel Jeremiah said the same thing. I won't be surprised if they go in that direction. So me and Daniel Jeremiah are very much in lockstep outside of the Trayvon Walker thing. Evan Neal going to the Panthers, he probably helps out their team the most, or at least getting an offensive lineman would, if you want him or Cross, whatever. But getting an offensive lineman 6 would probably help them out a lot. Okay, another disagreement here. Jermaine Johnson. I just don't think he's number 7th overall pick. Again, Johnson is an explosive edge rusher with outstanding production. I didn't really see that production. I don't know what production that was, so I don't fully agree with that. We can move on to the next several. Garrett Wilson at number 8. Again, this is just tough because, I just don't know if I love that value for Garrett Wilson at 8. I get the logic. I know getting a wide receiver, trust me, I'm very much in the camp of wide receivers matter more than anything. And they've had success with first-round wide receivers with Calvin Ridley and going back to Julio Jones. So getting Garrett Wilson, who am I to argue with Atlanta on drafting wide receivers? But at the same time, it's just if you're going to do this, why not trade down a little bit? Of course, again, if it's a mock draft, you can't do, not everyone does trades in mock drafts. So that's part of it. And maybe you can't find a partner. But I get it, because it's the Falcons have a desperate need for wide receiver, but it's they're not going to be good anyways. So who cares what their biggest need is? Get the best player available. I would feel way better with a couple of these other guys, but that's just my opinion. And also, Wilson's not my favorite receiver, so that factors in. Number 9, the Seahawks getting Charles Cross. Again, could go quarterback here, but if you're not going to go quarterback, this would be my pick as well, Charles Cross. Number 10, Drake London. So again, that's what I keep doing. Sauce Gardner and Drake London, 4 and 10. Those two going to 4 and 10 as well. Seems like it's kind of a common thing, actually, now that I have watched enough of these mock drafts, or listened to enough of these mock drafts, or read enough of these mock drafts like I'm doing now. Seems like that's the common thing. And makes some sense. The Washington Commanders getting Kyle Hamilton at number 11. That's another one that I'm fascinated by. I don't hate that selection at all. Listen, I'm not as high on Kyle Hamilton as others are. When I did my mock draft, he didn't get the first round. So I don't like him as much as others do, but for Washington, this is something where it would be interesting. I just hope he's the strong safety in that scheme and not the free safety. That's all I have to say, because I think that would be a little rough. That's just what I've seen. So okay, here's an interesting thing. Jordan Davis, kind of a bit of a surprise. I feel like that's earlier than I've seen him going in most mock drafts. He's going at number 12 here. That's fascinating. I mean, listen, the Vikings clearly do value that interior defensive line, so he would be good there. I get the logic behind it. Again, I would rather have Trent McDuffie, who goes one pick later, personally. That's a bigger need for them, and they are trying to be competitive now, but that's just how I view it. Yeah, Trent McDuffie to the Texans. I like they could use a corner. That makes some sense. So what? They get McDuffie there, and they also got Thibodeau round 3. Hey, that defense looking a little better. Hard to get a lot worse, but looking a little better. Now going over to the Ravens, getting George Karlaftis. Well, this would be a great pick for them. I like Karlaftis a lot. I think this would be kind of a steal. So big fan of that. And Devontae Wyatt going 15 to the Eagles, another guy who I think this would be a bit of a steal for them. I think he's very good. So now they have the Eagles taking Devin Lloyd. So again, this mock draft was before the New Orleans Saints trade, so that kind of complicates things a little bit. But okay, that's fine. We can go into time capsule a little bit. Devin Lloyd going 16. Obviously, we know now that won't happen. Trevor Penning going 17. I've seen that happen before now, but only a little bit. That's interesting. I don't hate that at all, especially if, Davis is off the board. They could go wide receiver. I would love for them to go Jamison Williams, but I get the logic behind Penning. And then number 18, Kenny Pickett to the Saints. All right, so first quarterback off the board. Pickett's not the guy who I would take first, but I do see it. Quite frankly, I don't know if Pickett could beat out Jameis Winston for a starting job, but that's just, again, the way that I see it. Moving on to number 19, Boye Mafe. So this, again, bit of a reach for me at 19. I'm not quite as high on Mafe as others. I also don't know if that's their biggest position of needs. So I wouldn't love that pick, but I do agree with Jeremiah that I do think it's a possibility that happens. I definitely think that's true. Number 20, the Steelers getting Derek Stingley Jr. That would be, quite the steal, I feel like. I think that he's much better than that and probably will go earlier, but I could see him, dropping back a little bit just because of the injury concerns and all of that from the past couple of years. I could see that happening, but I just think that, even when I saw him on film, I thought he was good. I don't agree that his best tape was from 3 years ago. Well, okay, his best tape was from 3 years ago, but I don't agree that that's his only good tape. I think we've seen other good tape from him, so I'm not as concerned about that. 21, the Patriots getting Jamison Williams. Yep, this would be awesome. I'm sure podcast co-host Kyle would be thrilled with this because they need a wide receiver 1. He can be a wide receiver 1. Chris Olave to the Packers. Yeah, I don't know if I love that scheme fit as much, but I think he's a good player, and he's probably the best receiver available at this point, I think, unless I'm forgetting someone. So getting him here, I'm not mad at it. There's a couple other receivers I like better, now that I think about it, but he's probably the best typical first-round graded wide receiver available, in my opinion. So I get that logic for sure. And now moving on to number 23, Treylon Burks. Wow, that's fascinating. I wouldn't go Treylon Burks this early, personally. I also think that they have other needs, so maybe not what I would do. But again, I get the logic behind it. The Cardinals lost Christian Kirk in free agency, and Burks could slide right into that role. I'm not sure if he could slide right into that role of like the vertical slot threat that Christian Kirk was, but he could. I guess I get the point. He could be a slot guy. He could be someone who can run these setup routes. I get the idea. I get the, I'm taking it too literally. He could slide right into that position on the field and be that guy. Yeah, I do think that they could find a spot for him. And hey, maybe having a bigger body receiver for all those screen passes, that could help as well, getting someone who can block. 24, Zion Johnson to the Cowboys. As a Buccaneers fan, I keep hoping he falls a little bit more. Probably not going to happen. Looks like 24. Man, it's good. I like that. Yeah, it says Johnson has position flexibility and would help protect Dak Prescott for next decade. Yeah, probably true. 25, Breece Hall to the Bills. So this is funny. When I made my 2-round mock draft, which is maybe out now, maybe it'll be out later, I don't remember. But if it isn't out yet, I ended up selecting Breece Hall to the Bills, but in the second round, and I felt kind of a little bit like, is this a little early? So getting him in the first round, bit early, but if there's any team that can afford to take a luxury pick, it is Buffalo, I think, in my opinion. So Tennessee Titans getting Tyler Smith. This feels like this is a bit of a reach for me. I keep seeing teams reach on, I keep seeing mock drafts have the Titans reach on tackle here at 26. I'd rather just have them go an edge guy who you don't have to reach for because they could use that as well. I guess I get it, but man, again, I get all these picks. I'm not trying to say like these are dumb or anything because again, I don't know how much of this is just like this is what Jeremiah thinks will happen. So again, making mock drafts it's hard. It's always more fun to be the guy criticizing than the guy making them. Trust me, I've done both. I like being in this spot a lot better. But again, probably not the one I would have made. Okay, scrolling down a little bit more. So Tampa Bay and Green Bay. Travis Jones. Hey, I had Travis Jones going to Tampa Bay as well. It's funny because some of these picks are like so not the way I view football and what I would be doing. But then he'll have some like Travis Jones going to the Buccaneers. And I'm like, yep, that's exactly what I had, which I feel like is kind of an obscure pick, but we both had that. So that's kind of what's interesting about some of these mock drafts. Jahan Dotson for Green Bay, he's just not a guy I'm crazy about. So they already went with Chris Olave. I'd probably rather go. I mean, maybe you could go tackle here. But again, are you going to reach on someone? This says, why not? The Packers could completely revamp their receiving corps with Olave and Dotson. I know it probably won't happen, but a man can dream. Fair enough. I'd probably go Sky Moore there. But again, I'm just not as high on Dotson as others. So if you're high on Dotson, I don't hate this pick whatsoever. Okay, final four here. Arnold Ebiketie would love this pick for Kansas City. This would be awesome. And even Christian Watson, that's interesting. I haven't really seen that, but he's more of a developmental guy, more of a guy who you don't know exactly if he will develop. But at the same time, like if it worked for DK Metcalf, it could work for Christian Watson, and it would be awesome if it did. So I would love these two picks for the Chiefs. That would be very exciting. Linderbaum going to the Bengals. Now that would be very fun. They need an interior offensive lineman. So if he falls to 31, like they should absolutely make that selection. Finally, 32, Nakobe Dean here. Devin Lloyd's already off the board, and this is pretty good value. The one thing I would say is like, I just think that a quarterback's going there. You get the 5th-year option, which is just so valuable for a quarterback that I keep saying, if the Lions don't take the quarterback, someone's going to trade up and take that quarterback. They went Trayvon Walker round 2, so I think they could probably get more value than Walker and Dean, but I do like Dean a lot. A couple of Georgia guys continuing to be teammates. So yeah, interesting mock draft. Again, some picks that I'm surprised by, but that happens with every mock draft. And I'm sure that happened with you guys when you watched my mock draft, if you watched it. So that's part of mock drafts in general. Part of the fun with mock drafts is the surprises and a lot of really interesting takes as well. Like that Christian Watson to the Chiefs. I might have to redo my mock draft. That's actually pretty smart. I like that one. That's a good one. So I'm a pretty big fan of that. But yeah, anyways, what did you guys think of this mock draft? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.